Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for waking up with Bunny. I've got my coffee. I do have water. It's not necessarily within reach, but I have it. I've got the internet. I've got you guys. Like, how much cooler does the Saturday morning get? Am I right? Yes. I'll answer the hard questions for you. Hold on. I have to drink this before I pour it on myself. It got far fuller than I intended for it to. How is everyone doing this Saturday? Oh my gosh, that's so good. Sometimes coffee just hits just right, like extra right. Let us talk about Twitter this morning. Let's see what's going on. If you don't already follow me, please do. My Playboys Bunny on Twitter is a fun place to be. And you get to hear all about my thoughts on dating, relationships, attraction, sex. You get to get my 20% girl brain, 100% fun perspective on pretty much on life. Oh, okay. Let's see here. A beautiful moment is talking to a bar salute. LOL, the red pill is pathetic. Yeah. Be careful not to take all these hard and fast rules that you hear about in our neck of the woods. Be cautious that you don't become so embittered that then you actually just cannot stand women at all. I mean, I look like a talking head. I look invisible. I'm really not. I have a sweater on. It's so easy to do whenever you hear nothing but kind of the negative stuff. That's why Fort Worth and I really try to put some fun in there to say, here's the rule. Here's kind of the general way that women think. Here's the general way that women operate. And here's how it can work in your favor. Here's how you can work it to benefit you and to enhance the quality of not only your life, but her life. So these are really important, like, things to remember, because otherwise you do end up this guy in the corner having a horrible time at the party instead of dancing and having fun and meeting hot women and banging hot women and building relationships with the women that you are most interested in. It is a game changer if you just remember that this whole neighborhood is more about you understanding how women operate so that you can best know how to lead and guide, because women are not a mystery, and that is a huge key here. But don't be that guy in the corner just standing there, essentially making fun of in your head of everyone else having a good time. Get out there and have a good time too. I love the balancer comes in every morning and says to be sure and like, subscribe, share with your friends, enjoy this video, and share it. Thank you, Balancer, for being here. Let's see what's next on the agenda. Girls with low or no sex drive will make your life absolutely miserable. You need to avoid this. Understand that your sex drive is far too important to leave it up to a low sex drive girl. You may really, 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 really like this girl, but if all the boxes get checked, but your sexual connection, your sexual chemistry, and the consistency of sex is not where you want it to be beyond the honeymoon phase. Now listen, girls will feign high interest. And it's not even really that they fake it, because they genuinely are high interest, high sex drive early in relationships. Girls just are, because that's how we know that we lock you in, is with our sexual interest in you. However, Sorry, these are literally my first 3 sips of coffee of the day. However, once about that 12-week mark hits, once about 3 months into the relationship hits, she starts weighing the options. She starts saying, is he boyfriend material? Is this going anywhere? Is there someone better I could be with? Are we well matched? Do we, have fun together? Whatever. Does he check all my boxes? And then even if you check all of her boxes, she starts working less at the sexual side of the relationship. She'll work more on other sides. She'll work more on the monogamy. She'll work more on the spending time together. She'll work more on making sure that you're appreciating her. She kind of shifts her perspective so that the perspective of what is important to her kind of turns on its side. This is where, and Balancer asks a good question here. Is there any way to read a girl's sex drive before it happens? The key point to know here is if she's high sex drive in the beginning of the relationship, you need to ensure that she understands that sex is a very important part of your relationship. So that way she knows she needs to keep that up. She knows that she needs to keep a high sex drive. She needs to keep high interest. She needs to not become a woman who truly treats sex as an obligation once you're in relationship. So as long as you are strong in the first place and hold that frame of sex is an important part of a relationship. And if this sex drive is only temporary, then we're not going to be a good match. And continue to drive that point home in a variety of ways. This will go a long way in ensuring that her sex drive doesn't dip unless she's ready to get rid of you. So keep that in mind. Otherwise, we always talk about, can you tell a girl's going to be good or bad in bed even before you fucked her? And the truth is you really can't. There are tells, there are certain things that often can bode well in your favor. Like if she's a dancer, if she's an athlete, if she's physical with her body in a way that allows her to have that mind-body connection. She knows how to move her body. She knows what her body looks like from every angle. She feels strong and powerful and sexy. These are good indicators that a lot of times they will be better or more comfortable in sexual situations. But really, you can't tell. Some of the most beautiful women in the world, we've heard through stories, are terrible in bed. And it's mainly because a lot of women don't feel like they have to work to do anything to bring to their side of the table, sexually speaking. So they think them just showing up with the holes is enough, and then they can lay there and just do it. Where, the common belief is that 5/6s, they have something more to prove. So they're going to work a little harder to gain and keep your sexual attention. That doesn't necessarily mean they're better in bed, though. So keep all of this in mind and understand that as far as what Balancer's asking about, like long-term sex drive, once girls' interest wanes, in a lot of ways that, and I don't say this lightly, in a lot of ways that is on you. That is on the male side of the equation, because female nature is to get you locked in on her with sex, and then it starts to drop. You know this about women. So therefore, you ensure that she understands that this is a critical aspect of your life together if you're going to have a life together. And therefore, if she wants to be in your life, this sex drive needs to remain high. You need to remain enthusiastic. You need to fuck me like a porn star. You need to wear sexy things. You need to not get sloppy. You need to bring your best. And I'll bring my best also. This goes along with my six cures, for every relationship. And one of them is to never stop dating. The other one is to never stop fucking, because those two things are all about making sure that you guys continue to try and don't get lazy. Whew. That was a lot for that one post. That's pretty good. But seriously, if girls, when you first meet them, indicate anything about sex not really being that big a deal to them, or they've never really enjoyed sex all that much, save yourself the trouble. Don't try to be like the first guy who's ever given her an orgasm if she's 35 years old. I mean, literally, it's a losing point, and you are just going to end up very frustrated. Let's see. Oh, had to put a dog down. That's not happy. Girl lifting. Beautiful, beautiful fall scene. You thought you had a chance with the ladies. Then Ralph Furley walked into the room. I wonder how many of you actually get these like 70s and early 80s television references. Oh, I feel like not many. Girls love risky sex that isn't too risky. Your backyard, closed public pool, parks after dark, your car, etc. This is so true. Girls love the thrill of the idea of maybe getting caught during sex, but they don't want to actually like go to jail. They don't actually want to have. Yeah, exactly. I knew you'd know why is easy. They don't actually want to have something on their permanent record about being naked and fornicating in public. They don't want the actual risk. They want the perceived risk. So keep that in mind. Find sexy places to fuck her that are outside, that are new, and that kind of signify an excitement factor. I know one of the most memorable times that Fort Worth and I have fucked, we had rented an Airbnb. We were out in the middle of absolutely nowhere, and we had sex outside that night, and it was incredibly hot. There was no one around. Like, I bet that there was no one around within a 10-mile radius. And yet it was so incredibly sexy and thrilling to think of being outside and in nature and just outdoors where we theoretically could get caught. Those are the kind of thrills that women love. They want seemingly risky behavior without it actually being risky. But we want that excitement because women thrive on the drama and excitement and thrills that you bring to the table. Finally, a kid without smartphones smoking a cigarette. That's pretty funny. Oh my goodness. That's just a mannequin set up at the ATM. Oh, that's cruel. That sucks. I wonder how many people waited endlessly. That's pretty funny. All right. "13 years in and my wife still asks, 'Why do you find me so attractive?' I'm hoping that stops soon so I can go and be free again." Girls thrive on hearing these kinds of things from you. This is where dread comes in. I mean, Fort Worth's Book of Dread is a key ingredient to a lot of like relationships once they truly become relationships. It's great for that front end stuff. It's great for dread is great on the front end when you're running a rotation to keep girls kind of in their place. But it's also good after 13 years together. It's great to keep her fresh. We talked about on the Morning Hustle on Thursday, Fort Worth and I talked about a guy who shared a story that a guy's cousin or brother or whatever had shared with him that he and his wife of 20 years had kind of waned in the sex department. It just kind of becomes less important. It becomes less of a priority in most relationships because they don't prioritize it every step of the way. And so this man had allowed the sex to wane. And the guy who was talking to us said, pretend like you're having an affair. You know, he started texting less. He started being a little less available. He started kind of behaving in ways as if he were having an affair. Now, make sure you understand this. The guy didn't say, go have an affair. He didn't say, go cheat on your wife. He didn't say, go flirt with other girls. He just said, kind of behave as if things are a little different. And she snapped into place within a week. She was giving him blowjobs every day. She was fucking him like a porn star. It was insane. The difference that a little bit of dread creates, just not being as available, not being as willing to please, not being just there to ensure that every one of her needs and wants is met in any finite amount of time. Dread works. I mean, it absolutely is paramount to keeping relationships, I would say, more exciting, because then neither of you turn that routine into a rut, because ruts in relationship are just dead in the water. If you want a failed marriage, go on and allow routine to take over. Now, I actually did an email on this just this morning. It launched at 6 a.m. my time. And it was talking about making sure that boredom stays out of your relationship. And this is exactly why. In fact, I should have used that line specifically, that a relationship where boredom has set in is dead in the water. Because if you want to get divorced, go ahead and just create a routine and stick to it. There are times when you have to have routine, but as far as you and her go, you two have to keep things fresh. And that's where dread really benefits, really comes in. If you have an interest in Fort Worth's dread book, go to fortworthplayboy.gumroad.com, look through there and pick out Dread Game. It is awesome. Let's see. Every time. Oh, I don't know. Oh, let's see what else we can find. Hot girls. Let's see. This could be interesting. I don't recognize this guy, but I can't get to my coffee. Okay. Let's see here. All right. We're going to test this out. We're going to see what this has to offer here. A short guide to clubs, house parties, and building social connections. This advice is directed to foreigners who plan to stay for an extended period, maybe months or a couple of years, or permanently. So pretty much everyone. Okay. That said, some of these insights can be valuable if you plan to stay for just a couple of days or weeks. Colombia is like 6 countries in one. Okay, so all of this is geared towards Colombia, to be clear. Colombia is like 6 countries in one. Cultures, accents, and customs are different and varied. It's important to point out that the social dynamics in Medellin, I'm going to destroy any Spanish sounding words. So if you know how to pronounce that, you just hear that in your head right now. Work differently than to other parts of Colombia. Social hierarchy, status, and connections are more important than money here. Your social circle is your most important asset. And honest to God, guys, I would say that is true right here in the good old US of A also. I think that people highly underestimate how critical a social circle is to the quality of your life, the quality of your business, the success that you have. The unpopular opinion is that you really go to college, you go to undergrad, master's, even up to PhD, not for what you learn, because you actually, a lot of times it's just honing things that you already know. There are very few professions where that university education is actually doing any groundbreaking work in your brain. However, you are building connections and networks that are worth their weight in gold that you carry into that professional life. So therefore, you oftentimes, now, if you're going to be a trauma surgeon, you're going to be a brain surgeon, you're going to be, some of these professions that truly do require not only the certificate that you've done it, but the actual knowledge that you learned, then those are clearly exceptions. There are exceptions to every rule. Don't be a dunce. However, what you're paying for, what 90%, I would say easily, of college students are paying for is the network that they create while they're there. The network of peers, the network of higher ups, the network of their professors, the staff, any connections and mentors that they develop in that 4, 7, 10 years of schooling. That is what you're paying for, is right there. So I would say your social network is truly your most important asset. This is also true in finding a wife. Talk about a decision that can make or break your financial future, your quality of life, your ultimate success in life, the health and well-being of your children. That's picking a wife. Oftentimes you pick your wife from your social circle in some way. So keep all of this in mind as you're reading this. This is not just going to apply to Colombia in some of these parts, okay? Lonely gringos who come here end up sad and disappointed since they think they can lone wolf it and realize it almost never works, even if they spend obscene amounts of cash. Also true. Let's talk about 2 of the many different social settings you'll encounter here in Colombia, in Medellin, Colombia specifically. Clubbing. Going to the club is different in Latin America, but there are also specific nuances unique to Medellin. Listen, y'all are just going to have to let it go if this is driving you crazy the way I'm saying this word. People actually dance. If you're there, you will dance too. Otherwise, you'll be seen as lame and boring. Guys, this is true in America too. If you guys do not know how to do basic dances, if you're not comfortable enough with yourself to not give a fuck what other people are thinking and just get out there and move your body, I think that this day and age, there are fewer than ever rules for the kind of dance that you do. If you don't know how to two-step, don't two-step. If you don't know how to waltz, don't waltz. If you don't know how to box step, don't box step. If you can shuffle your feet and move your hands a little bit and just randomly look like you enjoy the music, that is beating nine times out of 10 the other men in the room. It's a huge bonus if you're just not so much of a pussy that you're too scared to get out on the dance floor. You will have every girl's attention because you're actually out there. This is such a huge frustration for women and such a huge turn on that so many men actually ignore because it's uncomfortable, because they think that dancing is for girls. They don't want to learn. They don't want to put themselves out there. But the men who put themselves out there, I've talked about this. on Twitter several times with Mousetrap, because Mousetrap PUA, good friend of ours. We adore this man, and he is all about. He's like, he gets in there. He does the Latin dances. He does all the dances, and he's fearless about it. So he's also not going to give a shit if he's out there on the dance floor and he looks like a fool. He doesn't care, and he's getting attention. He's getting numbers. He's getting girls asking him to dance because he's not afraid. It's huge. Whew. Man, who knew that I was going to have so much to say about this Colombian tweet here? Let's see. You can dance with girls just for fun if they accept. Reggaeton is the king of genres here. Most clubs will play reggaeton mixed with other stuff. Salsa works in a different setting, especially in salsa merengue clubs, a house party, finca, etc. Having fun and dancing mostly reggaeton and sometimes salsa can be a good way to open a conversation with a girl. 1000%. It is a requirement to take a next step in confidence with girls, period. No matter where you are in the world, knowing how to dance is truly a game changer. Let's see. Chatting them up the whole time, however, can be counterproductive. It's too loud, and even Spanish speakers don't understand each other sometimes. Try to do this outside of the club. Países like to go out to party in their own social circle. You invite the girls you want to hang out with. This is an important cultural aspect that many foreigners are not familiar with. Approaching a group of women in the club is not the norm here. You must have absurd game and charisma to succeed here. Just telling it how it is. And this goes along with exactly what we're talking about. If you are so charismatic, if you're so brazen, if you're so confident that you don't give a fuck what everyone's thinking about you and how you look and how ridiculously you feel like you look, then you're going to turn more heads. You're going to be able to naturally approach more women, and you're going to have absurd game, absurd charisma, just like the saying. I'm not saying never approach women here, but the probability of that succeeding is much lower compared to the US or Europe. Stuff you should avoid for a night at the club. Wearing flip-flops. Yeah, clearly. I don't need to explain this one. Wearing shorts. Dress code is strict with shorts. Hats are fine. Dressing too elegantly. It's just not how we do things here. You can certainly dress sharply, but you'll stand out, and not in a good way. Avoid overly elegant attire. Opt for an urban look. I think this is really good stuff. An elegant, sharp style works better in Bogota. Attempting to enter the club alone or with only male companions, you'll most likely be denied entry. Why? Because they don't want men approaching random girls at the club, as I have confirmed with multiple bouncers. Pro tip: strike up a conversation with a group of girls queuing outside and ask them to tell the bouncer that they're with you, that you're with them, to just to enter. If you pull this off, you might even have your night set up with this group of girls. Yeah, things like that often work, even in the US, to ensure that you've already got it's almost like a teamwork building thing. Like, you feel like you've gotten away with something together, and so therefore it carries over. And even if you don't hook up with every girl, even if every guy in your group doesn't match with a specific girl in their group, it's still a fun way to play. You can check in on each other. You can dance together every once in a while. Even if there's not necessarily huge sparks going off, you can have a lot of fun and play with these kinds of things, because by getting one over on the bouncer, let's say, you get to team up, you're part of a team, and you've kind of got a secret. And that always connects people. Secrets connect people. In many cases, if the guy likes you, he will introduce you to girls in his group. If you're invited to a group in the club, try buying something small as a thank you gesture. A bottle of, I'm going to say alcohol, can do wonders. Remember, it's not the amount you spend, it's the intention that counts. If you do well here, you can even get invited to other events and social activities. Again, social circle, continuing to expand, deepen, and enhance your social circle. Let's see. The friendliness of the locals at this is an advantage, but sometimes they are being polite and just don't want to shoo you. Learn to differentiate. And that's true. That's true of women also. Guys, you've got to understand and learn to read the room. You've got to learn to read her cues when she's just being polite, but is trying to back out of a conversation to go on about her way. And when she's trying to actually continue conversation with her. This is where the indicators of interest comes in. This is when those indicators of disinterest come in. Reminder, Fort Worth is actually pre-selling his indicators of interest book right now. So go to his page and get it at a great price. That indicators of interest book will go a long way in exactly what this is talking about. Let's talk about house parties. We're going to make this quick. Colombians like house parties, although they aren't as chaotic as the ones in US. If you're going to a party, it means that you were invited. Don't show up unexpectedly. There are no strangers in house parties. Everyone has at least a degree of separation between each other. This is important. House parties are solid grounds for making connections. Time perception. Be mindful that time perception can be a bit fluid in social settings. Being fashionably late is common. Oops. The tranquilo attitude. Understand the laid-back nature that contrasts with the hustle of meddling. It's not mere laziness, but a distinct, relaxed approach toward life and social interactions. Bringing something small is accepted and can be a six-pack or a bottle of hard liquor, like that word that I don't know how to say, aguardiente, rum, tequila, etc. House parties are a better place to meet women, keep this in mind, than the club, in my opinion. This is going to be, if you've been listening to this at all, this is super obvious. If everyone in the house has one degree of separation from one another, there's already a built-in familiarity. There's already a built-in bridge there, and you just have to both walk it. It's so much easier to enhance social circle people because there's already a connection that's built there. All right, I do want to talk about this because I think this is going to be really important information. We are over time. Just stick with me if you have time. The importance of forming a circle. When you form a social circle and unlock social connections, you'll be invited to the best kinds of plans. Boat party, figca party, house party, trip to blah, 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 other trips and excursions. These are the experiences you'd like to have if you want to fully enjoy your stay here. Getting out of the gringo bubble is a must. And I would say, this is what I always say about moving to new places, whether they're in Latin America or right here in the US of A, is that you need to, if you move to a new place, you need to absolutely both feet in, throw yourself into that new community. You need to, even if you actually know that you're only going to be there for 6 months or 6 years, you need to go in there and you need to be like, I'm here to stay. I love this place. I moved here by choice. I've always wanted to live here and I want to know everyone because I'm going to build a life here. If you actually are being transferred in 6 months, that's okay. If you know that you're only there long enough to get your kids through the great school system, that's okay. Keep it to yourself because when that time comes, you can be like, oh, we're being transferred to da-da-da. And you can be like, I thought I was going to live here forever. This is absolutely heartbreaking. I'm going to miss this place and these people so much. I'm going to miss this community so much. These are important things to remember whenever moving or doing long-term travel to any new place. Exactly like he's saying. This goes without saying, but you need to learn Spanish if you want to get these experiences. So clearly, Bunny would not be good for this place. I have never had a need to go to Latin America, but I was practically laughed out of my 2 years of high school Spanish class. People here want to speak their own language unless they tell you otherwise. All of this and this picture should inspire you, I'm hoping, to work on your social circle, work on your dance, work on your club game, work on your house club game, work on ensuring that you are set up for ultimate success with women in every way, shape, and form, and that includes other continents. So I'm hoping that this entire thread has been really helpful to you. I thought it was fantastic. I should just do an entire show specifically on that, but I've already done, like 20 minutes just on that thread. So I hope you get the gist of it. I hope you dig deeper. I'd be willing to bet that particular thread has a lot of really great commentary and comments in it as well. So keep all of these things in mind. Now, in closing, I will see you guys tomorrow at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time for the Bunny Show Live. And then right here again on Monday morning at 7 a.m. for Wake Up with Bunny. Until then, please go lift heavy things. Go have some hot sex if you haven't already this morning, like I have. And go make something great. You go be productive, go accomplish something, and have a fantastic day. Why? Because, of course, I want you to win.